Well, the Odyssey is coming out. And, you know, there is a very concerted. Now, I don't know if I'm going to like the movie. I mean, I probably will, but I didn't like Tenet. I loved Oppenheimer, obviously. And I think the Odyssey looks really good, but maybe I'll like it. Maybe I won't. I mean, I've had a couple of films this year that I've been very excited about and really thought would be good. I'm looking at you, Supergirl, and didn't end up being all that great. So maybe that'll happen with the Odyssey. I don't know. But I haven't decided it's great and I haven't decided it's terrible. But there's a lot of people out there who believe the Odyssey is going to be terrible. It's awful. And for a lot of different reasons, I made an editorial about it. Well, you guys, this one is just pathetic. This one is just really pathetic. Some of you guys may have seen a headline going around claiming that the Odyssey's last trailer, which has like 60 or 70,000 likes, has 600,000 dislikes. Did you see that?
Yeah.
You guys seen that report going around?
Yep.
600,000 dislikes, they say. And then sure enough, a whole bunch of other outlets running through, oh, Odyssey, 600,000 dislikes. And you know, at first, when I saw that, I thought about it and I'm like, well, I mean, we do know there's been a very concentrated, concerted, organized hate campaign against the movie. And wouldn't be surprising to me that they organized 600,000 worth of people to just go and bomb it by clicking dislike. But then I thought to myself, I said, how? How do they supposedly have this dislike information for the Odyssey trailer? Because, I mean, obviously YouTube made the controversial decision a few years ago to no longer show the dislike number, right? Well, as it turns out, it comes from a Chrome extension called Return YouTube Dislikes. It's the name of a Chrome extension. And if you have that Chrome extension connected and that Chrome extension turned on, it will show you, at least this is what they say, it'll show you the number of dislikes that a video on YouTube has. So I thought, all right, that's interesting. I'll go connect this myself. So I went in and I turned on the Chrome extension, and then I went over and decided to take a look. And sure enough, the number was there. And I thought, I'm going to look at one of my own videos. Now, follow me here. I recently did an editorial called Let's Talk About the Anger Around Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Now, this is a video I made knowing it was going to get a lot of dislikes. All right. Whenever you make a video like that, you hope to get a lot of likes, but you're also probably going to get a lot of dislikes. So I was expecting a lot of dislikes on that video. And so with that Chrome extension connected, I went and I took a look, and here's the video. And you see down here, you see that down here, the dislike thing? It says that while this video has 4,400 likes, it has 3,500 dislikes. That's a lot of dislikes, right? That's the Return YouTube Dislike extension showing the number of dislikes, right? I'm like, wow. I mean, yeah, I was expecting a lot of dislikes. But then I thought, is that number actually accurate? So what I did was I went into my YouTube actual analytics, like the actual data, and it showed this. Here it is for the Let's Talk About the Anger, right? And you see down here where it says likes versus dislikes, YouTube's analytics tell me that 72.3% of the people who voted liked it. Wait, 72%, but the extension said it was made way more than that. When I go in to see more, it gives me this. That video got 4,472 likes, but only 1,745 likes. Here, it says it got 3,500 dislikes. Here, in the actual YouTube analytics, it says only 1,745 likes. This thing was literally giving me the double amount of dislikes than what it actually got. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, that doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right at all. So what's going on? Well, did a little bit of research. Here's the thing. Now remember, this information I'm about to give you here, this is all directly from the Return YouTube Dislike documentation and FAQ, okay? All the data I'm about to give you right now, all this information I'm about to give you right now is not something anybody's making up. This is directly from the Return YouTube Dislike extensions documentation and FAQ, okay? So here's the paraphrasing of it as I put this in here. YouTube, I didn't catch my Y. YouTube removed public dislikes data from the API, and Return YouTube Dislike uses a combination of archived data, exported extension user data, and estimates based on view-like ratios for YouTube for videos uploaded after public dislikes were removed. And basically it's this. This is the main thing you have to take away from this. RYD, this extension that's made everybody run around with these numbers saying, the Odyssey trailer got 600,000 dislikes, everybody. Their own documentation shows and explicitly says, does not have access to YouTube's data. Their own documentation says that they don't have access to YouTube's data. So where the hell are they getting this thing that this video of mine has 3,500 dislikes when in reality it only has 1,700? Like, where's it getting this information if their own documentation says that they do not have access to YouTube's data? Well, here's what it is. Okay, are you ready for this? And this is where it gets in. Follow me here, because I know a lot of people don't like trying to keep up with data, but follow this here with me, okay? Where do they come up with that number of dislikes? If they don't actually have access to YouTube's actual data to tell you how many dislikes something has, where do they come up with these numbers? This formula is directly from their own site. Return YouTube Dislikes equates this. Dislikes equals dislikes from the extension's users divided by likes from the extension's users multiplied by YouTube's publicly visible likes. So people, and only people who use Return YouTube Dislikes, only people who use that extension, it measures how many of those people disliked a video divided by the amount of those people who liked the video, and then multiply that by the number of people who liked the video. So here's how, let's break this down into simpler stuff, okay? So, and by the way, Return YouTube Dislikes equals 0.2% of YouTube users. I said TY, it should be YT. Sorry about that. Okay. The number of people who use this extension only represent 1/5 of 1%. Okay. It's still a big number. 1/5 of 1% of the total amount of people who use YouTube is still a big number. Make no mistake. But so out of those 0.2% of people, here's how that data would work. Let's say 550 people, like RYD users, voted, okay? Now I'm just using this as an example, okay? Let's say 500 of them disliked it and 50 liked it. All right. So how does RYD then calculate what it thinks the dislikes on a particular video are? In this case, the Odyssey trailer. Well, here's their math going back to this formula. Their formula is 500, all right, divided by 50. So the number of people who disliked it, who used the extension, divided by the number of people who liked it, times, and let's just say, I think right about now, there's 60,000 likes on the Odyssey trailer. So their formula is 500 divided by 50. So 500 divided by 50 is 10. So it's 10 times 60,000, and that equals 600,000 dislikes. The extension says, oh, 550 of our users voted on that particular video. So let's do our formula. Only 550 people. And I will put it to you to make your own conclusion. But what kinds of people are installing extensions that get them to glorify and look at dislikes? I'm not going to answer that for you. I'll leave it up for you to come up with your own answer to that. But
well, when it comes to modern Star Trek,
when it comes to Star Trek,
I do.
So here we are. We're at 600,000 dislikes. There it is. There it is. So when you see these headlines going around saying that the Odyssey's trailer got 600,000 dislikes, no, it fucking didn't. No, it didn't. The extension they're using does not have access to YouTube's data. They simply take their own users, see how many of them disliked a video, and then randomly decide to multiply that number by the number of publicly available likes it gets, and voila! They come up with their made up magical number. Now, look, let me be clear here. I'm not sitting here trying to disparage the extension itself. Like, remove or return YouTube dislikes can be a useful, interesting tool to give us some interesting insights. Like, I'm not trying to disparage the tool, not at all. I think it's a very creative thing. Again, not even though it will tell people who look at this video that it has 3,500 dislikes, when in reality it has less than half of that. But regardless, I think it's an interesting tool. But I think it is, to be kind, it is radically irresponsible for these people running these headlines to say, this thing got 600,000. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. What it got was an extension that has 0.2% of YouTube users who may or may not have a particular persuasion, and it's counting only those people votes and then multiplying that result by the number of public likes. It's ridiculous. It's 100% clickbait rate. Now, I don't blame some people who just see all the headlines and going, oh my God, it got 600,000 dislikes and all these other outlets are saying it, therefore it must be true. I don't blame a lot of those people. You see it running. What I do blame is if a moron like me can do 5 minutes of reading and see what this actually is. Again, I cannot emphasize this point enough. This point is the most important point in all this. The extension does not have access to YouTube's data. When you see that 600,000 dislike number, that is not coming from YouTube. That is coming from the extension making up its own numbers based on its own users and then multiplying it by, again, this is from their own site. This is the formula. It's from their own documentation. They don't try to pretend it. They don't pretend they're getting YouTube's data. They don't pretend they're getting YouTube's data. It is just absolutely pathetic the extent that some people will go to do to try to create a negative narrative. Now, again, I might end up hating the Odyssey. I don't think I will, but I didn't think I'd dislike Supergirl either, and we all saw how that turned out. So I don't know if I'm going to like the Odyssey or dislike it. But again, to me, it's just beyond pathetic and sad to see this sort of thing going around. And again, I think completely irresponsible. Anyway, Rob, you saw those numbers. You saw those headlines. People running around, 600,000 dislikes. No, it's not. And anyway, what's your takeaway from this?
Well, this whole controversy drives me a little bonkers in the first place. Let me ask you a question, John. Was King Arthur real? Was he a real guy? Did Camelot really exist?
You know what? I've always just kind of thought he was, but I'm not sure that he was. I don't know.
No. He was not.
Like, obviously, I thought a lot of the stories were mythological, but I didn't know that. No, I didn't think about that.
And Odysseus and all these characters were probably not real either. It's a good bet that they weren't. And the Odyssey has gods and monsters, Cyclops, even Ithaca in the story probably isn't where Ithaca is. And you know what? Christopher Nolan wasn't even the first person to cast a black woman as Helen of Troy. I told you this past weekend, I went and saw, of course, The Great Citizen Kane. Well, in 1950, Orson Welles cast Eartha Kitt as Helen of Troy in his film his stage play in Paris that was an adaptation of Dr. Faustus. And you know why he cast Eartha Kitt? Because he thought she was the most exciting woman in the world. That's what he said. So it's like, if you look at what Christopher Nolan is doing, he's doing the Excalibur version of the Odyssey. What John Boorman did with Excalibur, which he took all of these myths and put them together in his version of the Grail quest. None of that armor is period accurate. He cast people that probably didn't look like the people that were there at the time. But I can tell you, Nicole Williamson as Merlin, the wizard, was not a real dude. And what Christopher Nolan has done is exactly what John Boorman did with Excalibur. By the way, Excalibur is badass. And, you look at the Odyssey, and so he's got stylized armor in the Odyssey that is not period accurate. Just like John Boorman had stylized armor because it looks cool on camera. Do you think people were going, actually, some people were going, that armor's not period accurate. So I find this whole crazy, controversy. The fact is, I've always thought Lupita Nyong'o does have a face that could launch 1,000 ships.
I have always thought
it's
that.
Striking.
I would go to war with nations for Lupita Nyong'o.
There are very few. Her face, she's got I don't know if she's from Nigeria or where she's from in Africa, but she's got that regional face that is stunning, absolutely stunning. And she's a great actress. So to me, it's very possible. I mean, I swear to God, I think people think that Helen of Troy can only look like Diane Kruger from the movie Troy. And I really think that's what people have in their heads. Like, she's got to look like they race swapped her. Well, Helen of Troy probably didn't look like Diane Kruger looked either. Yeah. So it's like, I bet she didn't have as straight of teeth as Diane Kruger did. But we're getting a badass, stylized, the first time in history a movie's all been shot in IMAX. As a movie lover, my entire life, we get the man who has devoted himself to what? The audience experience. He never wants to shatter verisimilitude. He made me care about Dunkirk in a way that I never thought I would. He made me care about Oppenheimer. And now he's rolling along and giving us one of the great mythological stories that isn't real. And he's giving us what John Boorman gave us with Excalibur. This badass, let's use Wagner, let's use awesome music that didn't even exist back then. I mean, you know what? Christopher Nolan said there weren't symphonies. So Ludwig Göransson, you can't give me a symphonic score because those instruments didn't exist. Everything's a trade-off. We're getting a badass movie that I can't wait to see. And
Anyway,
people want to ratio a trailer on YouTube. Why would you want to do that? People are coming at me trying to give me these explanations about there's not really Cyclops. Men get turned into pigs in this movie. Come on, man.
Nadia, you saw all these things. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I was gonna bring up Eartha Kitt too, because when I first read about that, I was like, oh my god, like I love her. She was Catwoman too.
I know.
Always forget that. But it was interesting that you brought up like Camelot, because I love all that stuff. My grandma introduced me to like Merlin when I was a kid, and I fell in love with fantasy and like mythology. But it's interesting because what I appreciate is this taking a different stance, because people forget like Guy Ritchie did King Arthur. Kingsman, the comic book, is also a take on Camelot. It's like a take on like Lancelot and the different like characters. So it's interesting when you have media taking this mythology and this history or whatever they want to call it, and make new stories with it, because it doesn't have to be rooted in real history. So it's exciting when we get a different take. Like I said, like Campea knows too, like I'm a huge Guy Ritchie fan, so seeing him do King Arthur was badass. So you can have different iterations and takes on this, because if we keep getting the same thing, it's not going to be interesting. And I love Troy, but I'm super excited to see this take.
By the way, I hate to break this to a lot of Quentin Tarantino fans, but did you know that Adolf Hitler did not actually die in a movie theater fire? Hate to break it to you. Adolf Hitler, there are actually some people out there who think that's history. Did not die in a movie theater fire. Just throwing that out there. Anyway, guys.
What about all the clones of him from the boys from Brazil? That's not real either.
Question is for you guys. What do you think about this whole thing? Look, again, I'm not sitting here telling you or giving any guarantees that Odyssey is going to be good. It might be a bag of crap. It might be my next Tenet. I don't know. But this pathetic bullshit that people made up nonsense running around, the Odyssey has 6,000, 100,000. No, it doesn't. No, all you have to do is just look into it for a pure second. Anyway, whatever you guys think about it, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts.